in my presentation. I'm going to be talking about intrusion detection systems. So, yes, my name is Sylvia Lovina Chidi. I've traveled all the way from London today to give a speech on IDS systems. Are you all familiar with IDS systems? Yes? No? Okay, a little bit? Okay, so I'm going to keep this session really, really light so that you can understand what I'm talking about. Today, I intend to give you an overview of what we call HIDs, NIDs, and IPDs. And I'm going to then, in the final part of my presentation, introduce you to about 10 popular intrusion detection systems that are open source and are totally free. And they're very useful for your organization or your company. And for those of you that don't know what these abbreviations are, I just put them down here. An HID is a host intrusion detection system. An NID is a network intrusion detection system. And an IPD is an intrusion prevention system. If you're a security professional in your company or in your organization, you'll be using this terminology very often. The agenda for today, as you can see, is by the time I finish talking, you will have a rough idea of what an intrusion detection system is. I'll be talking about the 4 different categories of IDS systems that we have and how they work. And then I will give you a little bit of insight to some hacking techniques. There's so many hacking techniques out there, but it's very important that you familiarize yourself with the very popular ones. Because if you're trying to detect activity on your network, or on your servers, or on your databases, it's very good that it's very important that you have an idea about various hacking techniques. And finally, if you're a manager or a director, you need to understand how that will play a very important role in terms of good security practices in the organization. And last of all, we will briefly look at the tools. I won't cover them in detail. You can ask me questions at the end of the session or email me. Before I actually start, I just thought I'd just talk about what an intrusion is. An intrusion, are we all familiar with what it is? Yeah? Just in case, it's unauthorized activity on your network, unapproved activity on your database or your servers, anything that compromises the confidentiality, the integrity, and the availability of your communication, of your data, and of your network. That's what we mean by an intrusion. And some of these things are common terminology. Have a look at them later. But they're very often used when you're trying to detect activity on your network. A true positive, a false positive, a false negative, a true negative. And I can explain that later. So I just want to introduce you to this 1-minute video. I hope it plays. I asked the guy, he says yes it does. So let's have a look. So how many passes does the team in white make? It's an awareness test. And this video is relevant to what I'm talking about. Anyone quickly? How many passes? 13? Fantastic. Good observation. Did you notice anything about the video? No? You didn't? Anything else? Okay. Watch again. There's an intruder, right? That's what I'm talking about when I talk about intrusion detection systems. It's very easy to miss something when you don't know what you are looking for. So that's detection. That's what we're going to be talking about. You need to know about hacking tools. It's very easy to miss something if you don't know what you're looking for. So very quickly, I'm going to cover the definitions of HIDs, IPDs. An IDS system is simply tools or methods and software and your resources, your staff, that help you identify or report unauthorized approved network activity on your network. You need to have them. Some of you may be already familiar with some tools like Onion, Snort, and there's lots more out there in the market. But not every activity is an intrusion. So you need to decide, is this activity really a threat or is it something I can ignore? And these IDS systems are very important today. Security is very important in your organization. You definitely need to find out what servers need IDS systems. Where on my network do I need an IDS system? Because it will help with your security policy, it will make you compliant, GDPR compliant, and it will also help you detect inside attacks, because sometimes your attacks are inside, they are not just outside. They could even be from your IT department. The host intrusion detection system is simply software you install on your servers or on a computer, and that's what we mean by host intrusion detection systems. Usually they're installed on mail servers or servers where you have web applications. There are so many applications running on web servers now, financial applications, human resources applications. And we also have what we call NIDS. I like to abbreviate it because it's a long word. So Network Intrusion Detection Systems. That could be your router, that could be your firewall, that could be any network device that identifies suspicious activity on your network. And today we have what we call third generation firewalls. They are so clever, they can do lots of things, not just with IP addresses and ports, but also your filtering, your internet filtering, and lots of other things. And IPDS is the future, and I will explain why in a minute. But an IPDS is an intrusion prevention system, and that helps you deal with all the things that you've detected on your network, all the threats. So you can say, hang on, I want to disable that port so that no traffic goes through that port anymore. Or you can say, hang on, that IP address will be totally disabled. So that's what an intrusion prevention system is. It's very important. I'm just giving you 5 reasons why you need to have intrusion detection and intrusion prevention systems. And one is you need to, on a regular basis, if you're managing your department or if you're a security professional, you need to always make sure on a daily basis and weekly basis you identify all your incidents, both on your database servers and your network servers. You need to log that information. Not all the information you can log, so you might need to log them to a central database so you can look at them later. You need to report anything that you find suspicious. That can be an alert. Like for example, in my school, we do safeguarding. So we want to make sure the children are safe on the internet. If we find out there's any suspicious activity, my chief executive is alerted, I'm alerted, everyone is alerted, everyone that is part of that safeguarding team. And also it helps you to find where you have weaknesses in your security policy. You may need to revise your patching policy. Hang on, I need to patch every week. Or hang on, I need to patch immediately something comes out. It helps you with your audits and your GDPR and also with your senior management team. Quickly, I just need to make sure that I'm within the time frame. I'm just going to look at the various common hacking techniques And I've used one or two of these before. So the first one is a keylogger. Has anyone heard of the keyloggers file? Okay, some of you have not. It's a very simple piece of software. So if you leave your computer, you're working in a company and you leave your computer maybe for 5 minutes, someone can quickly install that keylogger on your computer and you wouldn't even know about it. And what it does is it records every single keystroke that you make. So if you're on the internet, you type in your username, your password, your banking details, records that. And then that person can come back later and look at a note pad with all that information and do serious damage to your personal finances or to the company's finances or to data. So IDS systems will detect that. They can detect what software runs on all the computers in your organization on a daily basis. So if there's anything that is suspicious, you can act immediately. So that is something that you need to be aware of. The second one is a famous one. Everybody knows about it. It's shut down so many companies. You've heard of the National Health Service in London being shut down because of the denial of service. If you haven't, then you've heard of it now. So that's when an attacker floods your network with so many messages. So it's a bit like email spam, yeah, when you're being spammed. But your network can be spammed as well. And then it means your network crashes or it's extremely slow and nobody can operate and it affects your business. So that's one of the hacking, that's a second popular hacking technique. The third one is eavesdropping. The threat is not immediate. Someone can eavesdrop into your network for about 6 months and gather all the information that they want. And they do that in various ways. They can have a laptop that connects to your wireless, and they have some software, and they're looking at all the packages, passwords, and all the information. Or they can actually go and see where you have network points. If you haven't shut those network points and they're live, they can put in their own cable and they can eavesdrop into your network. So try and disable all your network points that are not being used around the organization. It's very important. So that's eavesdropping. It's a passive attack. That's what they mean by passive attack. The fourth popular hacking technique, some of you have probably been affected by this. I have. I've gone to websites, I've clicked on an advert, and then immediately my laptop is infected with a virus or something malicious. I've had a friend, all her documents were encrypted, and she had to call a number to pay some money, and I said, don't, because you'll be paying for a lifetime. So that's the fourth one. And then the fifth popular one is one we are all familiar with, and that's virus or Trojans. And they come in various forms and they have various impacts on your network or on your desktop or on your application. That always changes. So you need to always make sure that you're on top of up to date with your virus software. So I just want to talk briefly about the future of IPS or IDS or HIDS. In the future, I feel that IDS will be outdated because you don't just want to detect threats in your network or on your servers, you also want to be able to prevent them. And earlier on I spoke about third generation firewalls. They act as both IDS and intrusion prevention systems. It's better that you have an IPS that has IDS functionality in your organization. So if you are thinking about your security policy, try and make sure that you have an IPS that has IDS functionality. So third generation firewalls, there's a few out there. There's FortiGate, there's Juniper Networks, Cisco as well has some very good intrusion prevention systems. And HIDS will continue to play a very important role in future because you have lots of web servers now that run a lot of web applications that are relevant to your organization or relevant to you. So in general, intrusion prevention systems can help you block all sorts of traffic, malicious traffic, and they can handle worm and virus threats, so they are the future. Do you agree or you don't agree? Yeah? Oh, very good. I just thought I'd show you a quick network diagram because you might be thinking, how do I design the security? How do I introduce IDS systems into my network? This is just a very simple design. If you're a small organization, you can start from here. So you can have some host intrusion detection systems on your web server, on your email server. Try and identify what is important. Do you have a financial database that runs in a web server? Do you have an HR database that runs in a web server? So have them installed and make sure that they have alerts and simple reporting mechanisms in place. At least you have started. And also your network-based intrusion detection system should be between your firewall and your router. And this a part of, some of you might already be familiar with the term, it's called the DMZ. So the demilitarized zones, DMZ. So now I'm going to introduce you to 10 tools that are open source. They are very easy to install. If you have any problems, you can email me. I can, help you, set you in the right direction. But these are the popular intrusion detection tools that we have today in the market. They are open source and they are totally free. And you can see they will tell you what operating systems they are compatible with. So some of them can run on all Windows, Mac, Linux, Unix, and some can only run on maybe Linux. We've got OSEC, we've got Snot, Bro, Suricata, Sagan, Security Onion, 8, OpenWhips, Samham, and Fail to Ban. And don't worry about memorizing this. The presentation files will be available after this session. Very quickly, this is the leading number 1 host intrusion detection system in the market that a lot of people use. You can see how easy, once you've installed, you can just see how easy it displays information. It shows you attackers that are on your host, your server, and by host I mean your server, anything that has your application running. And it also has alerts. So, and again I said, not everything might be something you need to worry about, but you still need to go through that. The second one is Snot. And Snot, has anyone used Snot here? No, you haven't used Snot. There are YouTube videos that will teach you Snot in half an hour, 1 hour, but maybe 24 hours if you're a very slow learner. So Snot is the leading NIDS, and it can examine your network traffic. It can help you detect suspicious activity on your network. So that is Snot. So many security professionals use it. It's so useful. And for those that find Snot a little bit difficult because you need to know a few command prompts here and there, they prefer to use something like that because it has more visual functionality. With Snot, you do need to know a little bit of command lines and so on. So that's Suricata. And we have Bro. That's another free NIDS. And what Bro does, you can see the picture tells you everything it does. It basically analyzes all the IP addresses coming in and out of your network. And so it also examines some of the protocols, TCP, IP, and other protocols, UDP as well. You've got Sagan. I'm not going to go into details, so I'm just going to show you the screen, because that's another session for later. We've got Sagan. Again, that's a host base. It looks at your files, the web traffic on your host. You've got, this is very popular, and it's open source, it's free. It's got some of the other tools I've already spoken about, all in one. So it's very popular. That's why I put it in orange. I didn't want to put it in red. So you can see orange. I'm trying to follow the theme. So it's a Linux distributions package, and it does almost everything, and you can install it in minutes. If you go to YouTube, do a quick search, you will find tutorials that will show you how to install this in minutes. I did it in about 10 minutes, but for some of you it could be half an hour, 1 hour. 8, it's popular but not that popular, but again it looks at files on your database servers and examines if they've changed or if someone illegal has changed them. And OpenWIPS NG is very important because that actually helps you on your wireless network. You can also use Wireshark. I'm sure some of you have used Wireshark. That's a very good one. It installs in minutes. You put the IP address of your network and it will show you all the traffic that's going in and out of your network. And you can tell, this doesn't look right, let me investigate. And that's what this does as well. SAMHAP, that's another one that looks at databases. And Fail2Ban is another one that looks at databases. So finally, something to think about. I'd like all of you to think about how an intrusion detection system can fit into the security plan of your organization. And I just gave a few tips, but I'm sure there are more ways it can fit into your organization. One of the things you can do is regular recording of information. So your firewalls should be recording information every day, every minute. And you should have alerts, immediate alerts. I get alerts if there's too much bandwidth being used on my network, because I want to know who is using that bandwidth. Is someone, doing something funny somewhere on the network? I get alerts about that IP address that's using too much bandwidth or too much traffic that's coming into the network. Who is bombarding our network with too much traffic? So you need to have, that's one of the things that you can do to make sure an IDS fits. Make sure you have the right kind of alerts in your organization. Make sure you're recording information. If you're a manager, have a meeting with your security officer on a weekly basis at the end of the week to see what's coming. Was there anything suspicious? Shall we ignore this? Things like that. And reports need to be produced on a weekly basis by your security officer. If you are a security officer, try and produce that weekly report for your senior managers about the network, about your servers, and about your database. Because once again, threats also come from the inside. So you need to make sure you have the right level of access, security access. Everyone has the right level of security access inside the organization. And you need to monitor that as well. So anyway, so that brings me to the end of my presentation. And just before I ask you for questions, you may have this. I chose this because I felt she's an intrusion detection system. She's looking at the forest. She's making sure nobody is hunting illegally in the forest. So thank you very much. That brings you to the end of my presentation. If you have any questions, please, I'm ready to take them. Yeah.
Thank you. So if you have a system that is, if you have a system that's completely in a the tools that you listed is one that you recommend?
If you have a system that's in the cloud, then you have to make sure your SLA, your service level agreement, covers that. So you need to be discussing with your service provider and asking them, how secure is my system? How secure is my data? Can you guarantee me that